On this week's show, we talk about Disney. Because Disney fucking own everything. Spider-Man, they don't own that though.
But they've got their hands back on it again.
Get your hands off my fucking Spider-Man. Trying to pull it away from me. It's a back and forth thing where you just keep yanking it. It's just not going. And then before you know it, we're all covered in sticky white web fluid.
Lovely. We also talk about Disney Star Wars or the state of it, and we finish off with the War of the Worlds trailer from the BBC. Stay tuned.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gamers, geezers, geeks, Spider-Man, Disney men, executive men, Star Wars men, men in general. This is a podcast for men, real men,
with Yorkies
beards.
And Yorkie bars.
It's not for girls. Anyway, on this week's podcast, I will be joined by what can be described as the creepy Korean guy who eats food and laughs.
What? No, look! How do I even remote? Okay, I've got Chinese eyes.
Yes. That Korean guy's weird. I have no fucking idea where he came from. Just had to share it.
It was funny.
It was funny. This week we'll be talking about Spider-Man. Disney. It's just be talking about fucking Disney shit because Disney own everything. If Disney owned Doctor Who, then they pretty much fucking own everything. I'll be honest with you, and I'll be honest with you, they might buy a Nintendo, but Universal have got plans for Nintendo, which will probably be quite cool.
Yes.
So, let's talk about Spider-Man and how Spider-Man was not in the MCU. He is in the MCU. He's not in the MCU. He's in the MCU. Now he's in the MCU. He's got 2 films in the MCU. One singular film and one team-up combi film, which I don't know if it's Avengers or going to be... How's it Marvel 2?
I don't think it's either. There is no Avengers movie until Phase 5. Now, Phase 4 is set out until 2021, which is when Spider-Man 3 is destined to come out. I'm hoping, and this is a hope rather than anything, it's going to be the Fantastic Four movie. That's where I want to see him. And that would make sense. Because Fantastic Four set in New York, Spider-Man's in New York, that would be the one that makes sense. That's where I would stick him.
It's weird because the whole Spider-Man thing is a thing of children and their toys. And Sony had their Spider-Man toy and they let Kevin play with their Spider-Man toy. But when they asked to play with some of their Avengers toys, they went no. Even if it was their own toy, the Spider-Man toy that they wanted to use, and I think it's a bit wrong that, and I can understand Sony being a bit kind of uppity, but I can also understand why Disney are a bit uppity too, because they've put the money and the effort into this, even though it's not Spider-Man. That's my first problem. He's not Spider-Man,
and I think you're right. I think this was 6 a dozen and half of the other, and as much as it pains me to come slightly to the defense of Disney, Sony, that Spider-Man movie would not have made $1 billion without Endgame, which is a Disney movie. And it was off the back of Endgame that movie made so much money. And I maintain this. I like this incarnation of Spider-Man. I agree with your criticisms, and I understand why you don't. I don't really argue with you about this, but I maintain that this incarnation of Spider-Man, because of your criticisms, would not work outside the MCU. It just would have failed, and I think Sony knew that. What Sony wanted was to be able to include him in Venom and other Spider-Verse movies, so they can kind of carry on using the MCU unofficially as a kind of, drive to these movies. And I can see that from Sony's perspective. I understand that. I know Venom had a lot of criticism. I still think it was all right. I quite enjoyed Venom. I understand why people didn't, but I thought it was all right.
I think Tom Hardy made that film. I think they let Tom Hardy. They went, Tom, do what you think's fucking best. And he went, really? And they went, okay, cool. And he just ran with it. And I think that helped a lot because you can tell that he was really invested in that character, both sides of that character. So I think that helped. But as I said, with the whole MCU and Kevin Feige being a bit weird, especially like kind of we didn't get Daredevil or Jessica Jones or Luke Cage in Endgame, even if it was like a reference. Yeah, even if it was you saw them in the background as CGI characters fighting. Yeah, that would have been nice.
I agree with you, but I think it's always been a bit about control because Kevin Feige never had control of the TV side of stuff until very recently. And now that we've got this Disney Plus service and the fact that they own Hulu or whatever it's called,
Hulu,
and they've got a couple of Hulu series. Those have been controlled by Feige as well. So, yeah, I can understand it. I would like to see Daredevil come back. I don't know if it will, but we will see. I don't like what Disney are doing with Disney Plus at the moment. I think there's no excuse for not launching it in the UK. For fuck's sake, it's their own stuff. Don't launch it with all the other stuff that you've still got licensing deals with. Okay, so Netflix has still got a couple of movies, or Amazon's still got. Just don't launch with that. Don't launch with the content that you had in the States. For fuck's sake, Netflix, when it launched in the UK, had fuck all compared to the US one. People still bought into it. Why the hell can't you do that? It really bugs me that it's not launching in the UK.
They've got Disney Life over here, so we've got a streaming thing from Disney. All they have to do is just turn that into Disney Plus and put their shows on it. It's not difficult. They've already got the bits there, and people who've already got subscriptions will be more than happy to go, ooh, I've got these extra bits now. I don't know.
It's almost like Disney don't want my money. It's like, Disney, I'm prepared to pay for Disney Plus because I want to see The Mandalorian. I don't want to illegally download it. I want to see it. I'm prepared to give you money. Let me give you money. But there's no way in fucking hell I'm not going to watch it at the time it comes out because it's going to be spoiled shitless because there's something called the internet. So it's like, ugh. But anyway.
Yeah.
Go
no, It is really dumb when it comes to these things. I know that part of the problem is the fact that Marvel had sold off a lot of their stuff to stop bankruptcy from happening. And they had the failed Jim Cameron Spider-Man that they were going to have, which was going to have Arnie as Doc Ock, which would have been fucking weird. I didn't hear that until recently. I knew that they were planning on doing one with James Cameron because Stan Lee was on kids' TV on Saturday morning in the UK talking about cartoons and stuff, and they were talking about the Spider-Man cartoon that was being shown, and he turns around and goes, we've got a film lined up, and goes, we can get James Cameron to direct it. And it's like, ooh, that's exciting. And then the whole thing fell through. But Disney need to get their shit together. I think that Kevin Feige needs a fucking keeper. Because I'm a little worried about him because the slate of next Marvel movies look shit.
And he's doing a Star Wars movie.
He's doing see, the thing with the Star Wars movie is he should have been. He should have just got asked Jon Favreau. I know he's doing the Mandalorian thing. He should have got Jon Favreau who goes, look, you helped us spark the fucking MCU. Let's see if we can do it again with Star Wars. Yeah, let's lay some bits down to try and get it sorted. And see if we can get it done. But they don't sit there and go, well, hang on, this may work the first time around. Let's try it again. They never think in those terms. They're just thinking like the base terms. It's like, oh, it's a superhero movie. Just throw more superheroes at it. And it's like, no, guys, that's not how it works. Think about how it was done. Think of it like a fucking meal, yeah, rather than a thingy. And yeah. I know he's had lots of success in that, but I do think he's just about to go off the rails because the movies, they all, I don't sound rude or anything, they all look shit. The only one I was excited for was Blade, and they kept quiet when they released it at Comic-Con. Everything else, so it's like Captain Marvel 2 and Spider-Man, all this other stuff they were talking about, kept it all fucking quiet. And it's like the thing with the mutants, that's the thing that fucks me off the most. You bought the X-Men, yeah? I don't care what your fucking politics are. That's the brand you bought. That's the name of the brand you bought. It's the X-Men.
Oh, that one is so dumb because half the fucking characters are female. For God's sakes, you've got Storm, you've got Rogue, you've got fucking Jean Grey, who is arguably the most powerful of all the mutants. For fuck's sake,
You have the best women in comic books in those stories.
What
The only
pisses
one
me
that sits outside that is Wonder Woman.
yeah,
Only one.
The people
Harley Quinn
that are
doesn't fucking
complaining about X-Men are the people that have never read the comics. It's the people that have never read the comics who are taking the name literally. And X-Men, when you think of X-Men, I don't think of all men. I think of Rogue. I think of Storm. I think of Jean Grey because they are X-Men. They're called the X-Men. They are X-Men. It's not a masculine thing. It's just what they're called. And it's these people that fucking sit there arguing about it. It just pisses me off. And you're getting all these dickheads that are coming out and saying, even Pierce Brosnan saying about James Bond being a female. It's like, shut the fuck up. You just do not know what you're talking about.
He's only doing that to make himself look like a better James Bond. If he's got no competition, everything's fine.
Well,
it's the ego that drove that comment, really.
He's better than Daniel Craig. I think the listeners to this podcast know exactly how I feel about Daniel Craig.
I think Daniel Craig should retire after this James Bond. Genuinely,
I think he should have retired before.
He's too fucking miserable to be fucking James Bond or any character. He's just so. I don't know. I can't describe it. But on a quick note, I watched Robin Hood, the new one from 2018.
Well, the Taron Egerton one.
Egerton one.
Yeah. Is it any good?
I was expecting it to be an absolute fucking steaming pile of garbage. I watched it, and with the exception of a bit in the middle where the characters kind of go wonky, it's Robin Hood if Robin Hood was Batman set in medieval times.
Oh, awesome! That almost sounds cool.
And when you because I think part of it is people have a preconception of what Robin Hood should be. I think that was the first problem because I wandered into it not thinking that. I watched it and I went, it's not bad. It's not this. It's like C+. I'll give it 6 out of 10 on my scale.
Okay, I'll watch that.
Which is like not worthy of going to the cinema, but worthy of watching on Netflix or Amazon. Definitely worthy of that. The soundtrack's pretty good. It's one of the guys who did the soundtrack to helped do the soundtrack to Tron Legacy.
That I thought that was Daft Punk. No, who did?
Yeah, but they had people help them.
Yeah.
Because he did Tron Legacy and he did Tron Uprising. He helped, so he's got credit on helping for that, and he's got a credit of doing Tron Uprising all by himself. And you can really hear it. I watched it and it was just like, this is not Robin Hood, but this is Batman if Batman was Robin Hood. And I liked it. Sorry, I just went off on a weird tangent.
No, but it's funny you come up because I like Taron Egerton, or however you say his name. I loved him in Kingsman. I thought he was amazing at that Eddie Eagle film. He was just incredible. And I recently saw the Elton John thing, and he's fucking good in that too. I mean, he's a talented son of a bitch.
I'll be honest with you, the Elton John one was timed wrong. The Elton John one needed to appear as soon as everyone had forgotten about the Bohemian Rhapsody one.
I agree.
As soon as everyone had forgotten about it, then people would have gone, oh, another one, awesome. But people, it's still in their kind of collective consciousness, if you know what I mean.
I agree that the timing was wrong. It's nowhere near as bad a movie as the critics have made out. Yes, of course, it takes liberties, but so did Bohemian Rhapsody. I liked it. I did like it, but I like Taron Egerton. So I will watch it. I will.
Give it go. It's one of those ones. It's not bright. It's annoying because the first half and the last half are quite good, but there's a bit in the middle where they just kind of fuck things up a little. And when I say Batman, I'm talking about the Chris Nolan Batman.
No, I know which one you're talking about.
And you watch it and get to the end, and you'll turn around and go, "Oh, you fucking bastards! You would, wouldn't you?" Yeah. Trust me, you'll get at the end and you'll go, "Oh my god, they did too." What's his name? Who played Krennic in Rogue One?
Oh, The Australian guy, because he's
Yeah.
in Captain Marvel and Spider-Man, Far Away from Home. Oh, I can't remember his name, but I know who you mean. He's a great bad guy.
Oh, he was the bad guy in that. And the thing is, there's a bit where, until it gets to this weird bit in the middle, you start sympathising with him, and you start thinking, maybe he's not as fucking bad as you think. Which was like a really good... That made it interesting, and then they kind of threw it all over... Then they messed it up a bit, and that's, I think, the worst bit of the entire film. But it was good.
He's a great bad guy, and he's the only thing. He is the only thing I liked about Captain Marvel. I liked him in Captain Marvel. I thought he was good.
See, I watched Captain Marvel, and it looked like a pilot for a TV series.
Oh shit! But I liked him in it. I thought his character, and I liked the stinger with him in it at the end of Far Away from Home.
Yeah, sorry, Ben Mendelsohn. That was his name.
Ben Mendelsohn. That's it. He's a good bad guy.
Mendelsohn.
He is a good bad guy. He plays bad guys well, and I loved it. I like him in Rogue One. He's brilliant in Rogue One.
He's got some chops on him, shall we say?
But
I was a big fan of him.
I have to say, I wasn't surprised when I heard Spider-Man was coming back, but I was surprised how long it took, because I genuinely thought you guys would be talking about it when I was away, but it didn't happen. So
yeah, it's I can understand where Sony have come from, because Sony were making comic book movies before
what
Marvel were.
Have you read the details of the deal? Because this is the original deal that Disney offered them, with the exception of one thing, and I think it was Sony not being able to play with their own Spider-Man toy in their own universe, and I think Disney have kind of relented on that, and that's what's got the deal done, because it was, Disney originally went with 50%, wanting 25%, and then the whole thing was like the 25%. They've got that. That's what they've got. They're financing it for 25% of the financing for Spider-Man 3, and they're getting a 25% cut, which is actually, quite a bit of money. I mean, they made 200 odd fucking million on Spider-Man Far Away from Home. They made a shit ton of money.
Yeah, it's not a bad deal, considering that this is someone else's property. It's not yours. And I think that the thing that gets me is that Disney thinks it's theirs. That's the bit that gets me. And it's like, no, it's Sony. And then there was the rumours about Apple buying Sony. Did you hear that?
Yeah, but man, that was never going to happen. I mean, I don't believe that. I can't see Apple doing that, but maybe I'm wrong on that. But they've got their own TV thing going now.
Yeah, see, that was the bit that kind of lent it a bit of credence, because if you buy Sony, you've got Sony's back catalogue of TVs and films.
True.
And that's a lot of films and TV stuff. It's like Ghostbusters, proper Ghostbusters, not that shit 2016 one. So, and all the TV shows that have done, I can't think of I think Preacher is a Sony show, technically. It shows on Amazon, but it's technically a Sony show.
You could be right there.
I'm sure it's Preacher. Maybe it's something else. I might be wrong on that one. I don't quote me. But yeah, it's that was good, but not good. That was weird, because could you imagine that, the fucking Apple PlayStation 5? The Apple Station. Sorry, the Apple Station.
Yeah, but is Sony? Were they only going to buy the movie studio and not everything?
I have no idea. I have no idea, because I don't know if Sony Entertainment gets thrown in. I think Sony Entertainment at the moment gets thrown in with PlayStation bits. I don't think they would have bought the PlayStation bits, but I just like the idea that it would have had the Apple Station, the fucking iStation.
Talking of Sony, I actually get this. I bought a Walkman a Walkman branded product the other day, and it's fucking epic. And I'll tell you what it is. It's a pair of headphones that have a built-in MP3 player that I can listen to while I'm swimming, and it's changed my fucking life. It really has. Having me.
Oh, hang on, because that's one thing that bugs me when I swim. Because when I'm on like the treadmill or the cross trainer or anything,
they're 60 quid,
dude. 60 quid.
4 gig. They're fucking awesome. They work. They really do work. And they literally have. They've changed my whole workout. I can swim for 50 minutes now, and I just zone out. listening to music on these headphones, and I just swim, and I love them. They're brilliant.
Oh, fuck off. Do you know which are in the UK?
Which ones are they? They're WS.
This is the NWWS 413.
Yeah.
Have
80.
a guess.
80.
80 fucking quid.
I'd pay 80 quid for them.
Do you
They're
know?
good.
Do you know what? Do you know what the really irritating thing is? I would, if they had Audible on there, I'd be fucking quitting.
Well, you can rip the Audible into an MP3 and play it on there, and it remembers the position that you last played, even when you power them off.
Yeah,
they're really impressive. I couldn't believe it. They're Walkman branded because I discovered that Bluetooth doesn't work under the water. Well, it does, but really close. Because I had a pair of waterproof Bluetooth headphones. I thought I'd be clever. Thought I'd load music onto my Apple Watch. Yeah, not so much. Does not work. Every time. So when I was like, it's really weird. So when you're doing like breaststroke, right, in the water, your Apple Watch comes close to your head. You can hear the music. As you go into the end of the stroke, it cuts out. It was really annoying. And I discovered these, and they're fucking epic. They've been brilliant. I've had them for a couple of weeks now, and I really like them.
It's one thing. Yeah, it's one thing I've been thinking about getting for swimming because I like swimming, and swimming. Swimming's good. Anyway, back to Spider-Man. Yeah, Sony being bought by Apple. I don't know. I think that came out. I think that Disney were, what do you call it, putting out a lot of bullshit in regards to it. So I think the first thing they brought out was the Steve Jobs thing. Steve Jobs told them to buy Marvel or something along those lines, and then Steve Jobs then complained to Bob Iger personally about how shit Iron Man 2 was. Yeah, and then Apple are considering buying Sony's entertainment division, and if that's the case, then things go back to. And it's weird that those three stories came out in that kind of order, and you're like,
there was a rumor at one point they were going to buy Netflix. So,
yeah, I think Netflix.
I think Apple are in the game to buy a streaming service to get their foot in the door, and buying Netflix kind of makes sense. But I don't. They won't. Netflix isn't for sale yet.
Yeah, I'm actually tempted to try and figure out how to build an app which will aggregate all of these services into one. Yeah, and then you can search for certain TV shows, and it'll tell you which subscription you need, and if you've got it or not. Well, then you could just run it all through a single fucking app. Apple
TV kind of does that with the free ones already, and some of the paid ones. It kind of does that, but it could go a lot further. And I think you're right. It does kind of do that, but not particularly well. Their streaming technology, because I've been watching Babylon 5 again, and I was paying 14 quid per season on Amazon. Then I discovered it was only 6 quid on iTunes. So I was like, fuck that, I'm not paying 14 quid for it when I can pay 6 quid for exactly the same thing. I have to say, Amazon's a bit smoother. Amazon is a bit smoother. It works, but Amazon, it was just a bit smoother on Amazon. Whereas it isn't so great at the moment on Apple.
It's weird because I watched a video of a guy and he listed all the streaming services that you can get in the States. Dude, they're into like 100 range, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, there's millions. I mean, the UK have got next to nothing. Hence, again, why I go back to why the fuck Disney are you not launching Disney? You're literally launching it in Australia. Sorry, Aussies, but Australia before the UK. Fucking seriously.
Do you know what it is? They're waiting for Brexit. Fucking waiting for that.
They're going to be waiting.
I bet if that's the excuse.
Gareth, men are going to have landed on Mars. We are going to be in our coffins by the time this fucking country leaves the EU.
Dude, if that's the case, me and you are hijacking a nuclear submarine and ending this.
Yeah.
The two of us, even though I don't think either one of us could fit down the fucking hole to get to the fucking ladder. Well, You can just see the security services. They've all got their arms folded and they're just watching, laughing as we're trying to get to the fucking hole at the top.
You pushing me down, fucking,
Jump on
head
me.
first. Get in. That reminds me of the Chekhov scene. Where are the nuclear vessels? It was Star Trek 4. That joke still makes me laugh. That was funny.
Dude, that was bad.
Yes. Anyway, so I'm happy that Spider-Man's back in the MCU. I want to see where Spider-Man 3 goes because I'm really bugged. That was the thing that bugged me the most because it kind of like they finished that film on a fucking cliffhanger. You need to show me Spider-Man 3, and you weren't going to be able to effectively do that suddenly being out of the MCU. And besides, I want another Spider-Man Happy Hogan team up. That was awesome. So
yeah, I think, as I said, when Endgame happened, it felt like a season finale, and that's the bit where it's kind of getting me. And it's like I'm not as invested in Marvel as I was.
But you should watch Endgame again because the more you watch Endgame, the more holes that are in it. And as much as we had arguments on the podcast about Infinity War, that is the better of the two movies by a considerable mile. That Endgame has caused a lot of problems, and I think it's the 5-year time jump, and it's rubbish. You watch that again. And you think you're a selfish prick, Mr. Stark, and that's not what they were going for. But that 5-year time jump was all because he could keep his kid. So and based upon the bit that you see in Far Away From Home, where they just reappear where they were. Well, what about the millions of people that were going to be appearing in places that don't exist anymore, on planes or in trains or in cars going down the motorway?
I'll be honest with you. That storyline wise, the Infinite Gauntlet has intelligence and it has soul to it, so it probably just put them back down on the ground where they started. So they probably just wind up in fields. Yeah, given that the more the fucking around with time is the bigger one, and the fact that Hulk didn't have a throwdown with Thanos. Yeah, Wanda got her thing, which was fucking awesome, where she's about to kill him, and it's like kind of, I don't know who you are, but clearly I've pissed you off. But yeah, I don't know, it always drives me crazy when you do time travel. There's only a few ones that have done time travel correctly. The best time travel story in the TV show, believe it or not, is Babylon 5 with Babylon 4. And that one, when you watch it, because you know everything that happens, when you get what happened revealed to you, it sends shivers down your spine. Yeah. When they play that video, and it's like kind of this thing came out of nowhere and helped us win the war, and then it pans up and it's the fucking missing station, and you realise that they pulled the station back in time to help them beat the Shadows. You go, it's giving me shivers now. Actually, thinking about it, it was done so well.
But when that
spoilers for a 20-year-old TV show.
But when that episode, but here's the thing: when that episode, the original season 1 episode, was conceived, Sheridan didn't exist. Sheridan was never going to be part of it. Sinclair was never meant to be. Hang on,
no. There was a Sheridan character, but Sheridan was supposed to be the head of the Rangers, and he was supposed to be the guy who blew up the Black Star and whatnot. But they had to swap him around with Jeffrey Sinclair because the poor actor was suffering from severe mental illness.
Yes,
so the character did exist, and JMS refers to these as trapdoors, where if he gets in trouble, he can send something down the trapdoor to disappear it, and then to come back into the storyline, because there was supposed to be a Sheridan character.
The Sheridan character was going to become Valen. It was going to be swapped around. Yeah, but not like the Sheridan that we got now is what I was getting at. But I fucking love Babylon 5. Even
and
all
Talia
these years
Winters,
later.
And another example is Talia Winters and Lita Alexander.
Yeah.
They swapped those two characters around.
Yeah.
Because she had to leave because she was preggers. And she was like, I don't know if I keep doing this. And it was like, okay, fair enough. So she left, and they brought Lita Alexander in to do that, because there's a bit that goes nowhere in the story in the first season. And this is how well he set it up for fucking B5. Kosh and this android creature are having a conversation, and she's trying to scan them, and she doesn't get anything out of it. And then the android produces a little data crystal and gives it to Kosh. And he turns around, he goes, it's a cry or something. He goes, it's a weird poetry. And basically he says, I've just copied your personality in case something goes wrong later. So when in the second series you find out she's a spy and she's had a personality wiped, Koshi's got a backup. She's fucking awesome, the way that was put through. And that was abandoned because she couldn't do it, and then he used his trapdoor for Lita. And he, really good fucking writer. Really good writer. And he's, as I said, that's probably the only reason that they did Sense8 is because he's the only one who could plot the fucking thing.
You have to go back and watch it again because you realise how much it has influenced sci-fi over the years since. And it's like where you've forgotten that it was originally in Babylon 5 and you've seen it in other shows and gone, oh, that's amazing. Go back and watch B5. Hang on a second.
But saying that, you can see a lot of influences that B5 took from other things. Like the beginning of season 3 was Blake 7.
Yes.
Where they're all trying to escape the planetary blockade with Marcus. And they even had a ship that looked like the Liberator's the first one, isn't it? The Liberator was the first one in Blake 7.
To me, if you can see past the slightly shaky sets, and there is a lot wrong with it, but the thing is, unlike I'm going to say this, I know it's sacrilege to some people, but unlike Star Trek to a certain extent, there are episodes where you forget it. It doesn't matter in B5 because the storytelling is just so damn good that it's miles ahead of anything else. And yeah, it just makes me weep.
Have you listened to any of the directors, the commentaries on there?
No, because I haven't got them on the ones I've been downloading.
Oh, okay, right. Because I got it on DVD, and some of the commentaries on there are hilarious, especially when they had, I think it was Jerry Doyle, one of the directors, and Bruce Boxleitner, and they made that. No, it was Bruce Boxleitner. It was Claudia Christian, and they're chatting away, and they always turned around and said, whenever it was time for Moira Furlan's chance to talk, it would be find a chair, she's going to be here for a while. She'd get like monologues like 3 pages long, and they were great monologues. And it's like, oh dude, some of the things, it was just her and Jakar. Peter Jurasic could do it, but he wasn't as good as her and Jakar. They could deliver those monologues. Peter Capaldi's another one who could deliver a fucking good monologue.
Yes.
Yeah, where it's just them in a room and they own everything, and it's just good TV.
You see, I see a lot of people that criticise season 10 of Doctor Who. His final speech is fucking brilliant. Absolutely fucking brilliant. You can slag off Moffat all you like, and Lord God, I've got a lot of criticism for him. That final speech where he's talking to himself and he's running around the TARDIS just before he regenerates. It's brilliantly done. Brilliantly done. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Moffat's 2 regenerations were done very well.
Yeah.
Done very well.
And always, yeah. But Capaldi was the best. I think Capaldi was the best. Because even... This is the bit that people are gonna go, ooh. Capaldi could actually be on his own as the Doctor.
Yes.
Where Tom Baker wanted to be on his own as the Doctor, but I don't think he could have pulled it off. Actually, saying that, he could have pulled it off in his later years, but I don't think he could have pulled it off when he was doing Doctor Who.
Capaldi was certainly one of the better acted Doctors, but having said that, I've seen Tennant in a lot of things since then, and I like Tennant, but he does kind of play very similar characters, although he's meant to be something completely different in this Criminal, and he was quite good in Broadchurch. I did like him in Broadchurch.
What's it? Demons. What do you call it? The Terry Pratchett Gaiman thing. I loved him in that.
But I loved him in that as well. But there was a lot of the Doctor there.
Yeah,
there was.
The worst thing is there's a lot of Doctor from both characters.
Yes. Oh,
and you're like,
good.
Michael Sheen, can you be the Doctor, please?
Oh, the Sheen is just. I will say this again. Michael Sheen is a phenomenal actor because you watch Good Omens, right? And then you watch the episodes of The Good Fight that he is in. If you didn't see it with your own eyes, you would not believe it's the same man.
Mm.
It literally is chalk and cheese. It's so far apart, these two roles that he's playing. Yeah, he could do the Doctor. No, fuck it, no problem.
So the problem with, as I said, the problem with the good fight is the good fight did break my rules on free speech and
it went down
kind
the
of with
yeah. It did.
it
got very.
it's when you call for violence against people, and I'm like, no, we don't do that.
It
And
did.
That's not good.
Unfortunately, but yes. Anyway, so we've gone off topic now. I don't know where we're at.
We were talking about Star Wars and bits, and they were, I think, Galaxy's Edge and the theme parks have gone and rearranged all their heads of staff. It's really annoying because I've recently bought an annual pass to Disneyland, and I'm worried now. It was like Brexit was a worrying thing, but I was more worried about the exchange rate than anything else. That's my biggest worry was coming, because I'll be honest with you, things will just stay the same, because no one really wants to fucking change anything too dramatically. It's the way things are. They want these slow kind of, it looks like an improvement change. But yeah, I bought a pass, and then they've got rid of the person who was in charge of the parks for Paris and shifted them across. And this is the other thing too, is the difference between Disneyland Paris and Florida is the staff. The staff at Florida are fucking brilliant. They're the best staff anywhere I've seen doing anything, yeah? And when you go to Paris, it's not quite the same. And you go use it, and you're like, kind of... they got
it is a cultural thing. It is a cultural thing. And that's me putting it nicely. The Americans, because of their very nature, are loud and brash and open. But
saying that,
the French or not?
If you go to Epcot, there's like a whole section populated by Norwegian birds, and they're still friendly like the Disney stuff, and they are all Norwegian, and it's weird because you go into.
But they're American Norwegian. They are American Norwegian.
No. See, when you go to Disney, they give you a little badge, and on the badge they tell you where they've actually come from to work at Disney. And these people are from Norway, and they've got the accents and everything, but they've got that kind of happiness. Unless Disney are dosing the staff with happy juice.
I thought Norwegian people were happy.
Norwegian people aren't happy. It's miserable, lack of daylight and whatnot.
No, they're not. That series. What was that series on Netflix? That mafia series that was set in Norway, in Lillehammer. It was called Lillehammer. That was the first and second season of that show were brilliant. They were really good. First season, not so much, but about a mafia boss that ends up living in Lillehammer. The Norwegian people in that were brilliant. That show, love it. I'm
must have watched it. One of those ones I didn't mean to watch.
You should watch it. It's good. The first and second season are good. Yeah, we should. Talking about Disney and Star Wars and everything else. Checking Bob Iger's autobiography. Are Disney stupid? Idiot. Yeah, it's the entire. I have come to the conclusion that they're just all fucking idiots. I mean, your $4 billion investment plus whatever else that you gave Mr. Lucas in backhanders is losing money. You have made, of all of the Star Wars movies that you have made, so that's what, 4, only one of them is considered by the Star Wars fans as semi-decent. I think it's a good film. As much as the Star Wars fans had issues with the prequels, you managed to make the prequels look like masterpieces.
Yeah.
And then you go against the creator. Now, no matter how bad, and yes, George Lucas was responsible for Jar Jar Binks, and yes, the fans did revolt somewhat, that was nothing compared to how they feel about Disney now. So what do you go and do, Bob Iger? You tell everybody that you pissed off the Lord, the creator of Star Wars. Well done there. Yeah, that was sensible. It's almost as good as announcing in the middle of the worst week of Game of Thrones has ever seen that Brendan Doffin and Benny and Wise are going to write a Star Wars movie. Dude, you could not fucking write this.
True.
You couldn't make this shit up if you tried. And to me, why the fuck would you confirm that Lucas was pissed at you? Why would you do that? I don't get it.
No, I don't get it either. It's just dumb. It's bad fucking business. And it's because he's got. It's because someone somewhere wrote Bob Iger has done more for Disney than Walt Disney had, which is utter bullshit.
Yeah.
Seriously, utter bullshit. You've come into somewhere that's already there, already built. He built the whole thing from the ground fucking upwards. Could you do the same?
No, Bob Iger.
He can't.
Bob Iger is a businessman. Walt Disney was a creator. First and foremost, he was a creator. Yeah, you can. There's things about him that, you know, rumors and all that kind of
stuff.
No,
hang on a second. Let me just clear those things up, yeah? The things about him, when they talk about the dodgy, slightly racist cartoons, were made by, shall we say, people that were being investigated in Hollywood for having alliances with certain other Soviet-style countries, and they wanted to discredit him and break things down. Kind of like what's happening now with the whole fucking cancel culture and whatnot.
No, you could be right.
So, yeah.
But I'm not going to go into that. I am going to say that Walt Disney was first and foremost a creator, and that is not Bob Iger. In actual fact, I think part of the problem with Disney versus Spider-Man was because the Sony boss, who is not a creator, got involved, and Bob Iger got involved, and therefore they were just seeing it from a business perspective, whereas it's going to pain me to say this, but it's slightly true. At least you could argue that Amy Pascal has some creativity. Feige definitely has. And when those two were allowed to just get on and make a deal, they did.
I still think that Sony putting Amy Pascal in front of Kevin Feige after she threw a lunch at him in one fucking meeting was a bad idea. What's the famous story behind that? Oh, she threw a sandwich at me with the plate. Yeah, I would not. How? No, seriously, right? If you did that at work, you'd get the sack.
You would. Yeah,
you
I
would.
know.
How the hell? This is the thing that gets me with Hollywood. It's like kind of like the Rian Johnson thing, yeah? It should have been after the movie tanked, yeah? They should have just turned around and gone, parting ways with Rian Johnson. We wish him all the best for the future and all his future endeavours and whatnot. It goes, he did us a solid making the film. It looks beautiful, blah, 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 and then left it.
But the thing is, if you look at the figures for The Last of the Jedi, it didn't tank. You have to... What Disney are not doing is underestimated the sheer amount of anger out there. They believed the bullshit that they were spinning, that Rian Johnson was spinning, that it was the racists and white males on the internet, and they truly believed that's what it was, and they've used Captain Marvel as an excuse to carry on that belief, and now we're beginning to hear rumors coming out that they're beginning to wake up, that once they did because there is a rumor that they did this sort of survey between people that have said they were a fan of the movie, that fit into the demographic, let's just say, of who this movie was thinking. And these people have turned around and said that the one thing about the Captain Marvel movie, she's not likable. And now Disney are waking up to that. But they do believe they drink from their Kool-Aid. They believe the shit that they're thinking. They live in a bubble. And I genuinely believe that they thought it was white men and racists. And when Solo came out, I think they got a much bigger kick in the testicles than they thought they were going to get. And
it didn't help that was mismanaged.
No, But again, these people get rewarded in Hollywood. It has happened for years. The whole Harvey fucking Weinstein thing, everybody knew about that for fucking years. It's what happens. This is why I think Hollywood is so fake. This is why I think it's virtue signaling all the fucking time. It's absolute bullshit. The first and foremost thing about Hollywood is making money. And if they think it's going to make money, they'll do it. If they don't, they won't. It's why we didn't have a fucking black Spider-Man.
I'll be honest with you. I think they're fucking losing sight of the make money part. I really genuinely think they are losing sight of that.
I think they are now because it's been infected by the leftists. But I don't think Disney. I don't think Disney are, to an extent, because Captain Marvel, no matter how much we slated it, was going to make a lot of money. It always was, because it was sandwiched in between two of the biggest fucking movies of all time, and people wanted to get it.
It was, what do you call it? There's rumours of empty cinemas and stuff that happened with it, and then there's rumours that Disney have been cooking their books. If they have cooked their books quite to the extent that a lot of YouTubers are making out, it will bring down Disney. It really will, because it is a federal crime to do that. And I'm not sure. I genuinely think a lot of people have put these rumours out. I think the left have put these rumours out to discredit the people that actually make sense on YouTube. Now I know that's a slight conspiracy theorist, but I think that's true. I always thought Captain Marvel was going to make a lot of money. I didn't like it. I didn't like what Disney did. I didn't like how they basically took over Rotten Tomatoes to do it. But at the same time, I thought it was always going to make a fair bit of money, as I thought Far Away from Home was, because those movies drove the traffic. It's how Last of the Jedi absolutely killed Solo, because I think Solo would have made more money had that movie come out after the Force Awakens. It would have made a lot more money, despite all the mismanagement, despite all of that. Because What's His Face is a popular director. It's entirely the Last Jedi effect. And the other problem with it too is they doubled the fucking production budget by letting the Lord Miller film like fucking 80% of it and then firing them, instead of doing it 25% and going, guys, let's just have a quick review of what we're doing here. Because I think the problem with Kathleen Kennedy is Kathleen Kennedy has worked with people like George Lucas and people like Steven Spielberg and the guy and the people for like Back to the Future and whatnot, and the very capable people, the people that you can just leave on their own to get on with things. The problem is that she hasn't hired people of that quality that you can leave alone. Yeah, and the example is Ryan bloody Johnson with his lot, and Lord Miller with their lot, and the thing with Gareth Evans having to redo the end of the film of Rogue One.
Yep.
Yeah, because you saw the trailers; it seemed to end completely differently from the trailers, and having to get someone in to redirect that. That's 3 projects that she's completely mismanaged there. And you think after the first one, after the Gareth Evans one with the bloody Rogue One, she'd be sitting there just going to check, yeah. And as I said to my brother, we were talking about what were we talking about? We were talking about some TV show, and it's like it was last season of Dexter. Yeah, the last season of Dexter, the TV show, yeah, utter shit. All right, completely fucked up. And the reason it was utter shit is because all the previous execs and story people had all fucked off and left this one poor bastard on his own to run it, and he was completely green. Yeah, and in that situation, if you were completely green, first thing you do is I turn to the creator, the guy Jeff Lindsay, who created Dexter, and go, "We're going to finish off Dexter. Come with me. I've got an idea. Let's see how this runs." Yeah. And work with him and then finish it off together, because it's partly his creation, and then him getting to see the whole thing kind of finish off, brought to a close, that it would work. But they don't seem to understand that certain people create things, and they have a feel for the character and the way things should go.
I do agree with you that it's been mismanaged, but at the same time, the rumor is that they just let Ryan Johnson do his own thing. So it's kind of like, I don't know. They've well and truly fucked it. Last of the Jedi done a hell of a lot of damage. They are feeling the effect of that. I think Galaxy's Edge would have been more popular if The Last of the Jedi hadn't happened. I think it was a mistake not to put... I know what Disney were going for. And I kind of understand why Galaxy's Edge would have made a lot more sense if The Last of the Jedi hadn't happened. If they'd followed J.J. Abrams, and you can say what he's like, if they'd followed his treatment...
If they'd followed George Lucas's treatment...
I don't know. I still think the midi-chlorians was... I'm not sure. Depends on what you believe about those three stories.
George Lucas had this thing, and he was right. It's like every time you show a new film, you give him a new planet, you show him something new and something exciting.
That is... He was right about that.
And that works. Guess what that works for, guys? That works for merchandise. Yeah? You don't just sit there and just repeat the shit and try and hope that it kind of works.
But you see, you look at a lot of these people that are critical now of Star Wars, like geeks and gamers, and the nerderotics and everything. You look at their reactions after Episode 7 came out; they all quite liked it. There are even videos of them going bonkers. Yeah, and my mum didn't. My mum said exactly the same as you. I've seen this before.
She's a woman of taste. That's why.
Yeah, my mum loved Star Wars. I mean, she was a big Star Wars fan. She said she'd seen it, but the fans kind of liked it, right? It was the thing. Had they carried on with that, had they carried on with what J.J. Abrams set out, we wouldn't be quite in the problem we have now. You would have still not been particularly great about it, but you wouldn't have switched off it. The problem was they allowed Rian Johnson to ignore because he's an arrogant little wanker, who ignored everything that was set out and did this completely different film. And the thing is, it makes no fucking sense. It's completely different tonally, and it does not fit with the other movie. It's just totally stupid. And when you watch the two of them back to back together, Last of the Jedi is even more of a fucking mess. And it's like, you set up this big reveal for Snoke and you don't get it. And to me, that means that I can't understand how the fuck Rian Johnson is allowed to work in Hollywood again. Because, okay, on paper, Last of the Jedi made a hell of a lot of money. It did. It was $1 billion movie. But it destroyed a franchise. And the evidence of that is everywhere. Your parks are failing. The movie that you released after that failed. It forced you, instead of making movies, to make TV series, because the Obi-Wan TV series was never going to be a TV series. It was going to be a movie. But The Last of the Jedi destroyed it, and it's way more than fucking a small minority of people on the internet. It's more than 50% of your fans. It is more than that. And Disney are waking up to that now. Is it too late? I don't know. I think The Mandalorian might be quite good. I understand why you didn't get excited by the trailer. I got excited by it because it at least fucking looked like Star Wars. None of this Disney shit. It looked like Star Wars. You had stormtroopers. Right. Stormtroopers that I recognise.
Hang on a second. It looked more like an old Western that you'd watch on Channel 4 on a Sunday.
But that's what Star Wars kind of was inspired by. That's what Lucas was inspired by.
The Japanese kind of...
Yes.
Like the Secret Fortress nonsense.
But it was that. What did he like watching when he was young? Westerns, Japanese kung fu movies, and he combined the whole fucking lot into what
Flash Gordon.
Into Star Wars, and it's all there. That trailer, at least, kind of looked like Star Wars, and I don't know. It might be shit. It might be, because Jon Favreau, he's made fucking shit movies, but he also made Iron Man, which is still one of my favourite fucking Marvel films. It's still up there because it's still good. And it launched that series. So, there might be some hope from Star Wars. I have no fucking hope for The Rise of the Skywalker. It will be bad because it's J.J. Abrams. And he's going to go back he's going back to do what he set up in the movie, which is going to make Last of the Jedi look even more fucking ridiculous. And
I've come to J.J. Abrams must be the worst lover ever because he can't fucking finish anything. Can get good build up, yeah, but never finishes anything off. Fucking shoots his load early. Terrible lover.
Right, there is one more thing that I would like to talk about because I've had enough of slagging off Disney. Because I still like Disney in some places. I know Disney are big evil overlords and everything else like that, but there's still some good Disney stuff. Anyway, I want to talk about something that I have been excited about for 2 fucking years because I first read about this.
Hang on a second. Are you talking about? You're not talking about you. You're talking about the return of the Mint Whisper.
Yes. Oh, I'm looking at
Mint Whisper.
Fucking love those. I can't eat them. No, I am talking about War of the Worlds. Now, the reason I'm getting excited about this is because I am a big fan of the book. I'm a big fan of the Jeff Wayne War of the Worlds musical. Big fan of the Jeff Wayne War of the Worlds game because Gareth and me used to play that obsessively over a dial-up modem. It was awesome. Yes, you kicked my ass.
I remember I had to beat you in the most contrived way because it was a case of we were doing like a quickly conquer rule, and it was like you had to go into an area and just flatten it as quickly as you could and then move on to the next area. But if someone invaded your area, you could use the cheat to wipe them out and move on.
Yeah.
But for you, because the aliens had to land and then set up base, so because I was playing the aliens, I had to fucking work my way all the way down to the country where you only had to move like 2 squares to get to the fucking thing.
You still beat me.
It's just fucking that was an supreme effort on my part. I just had to
But I'm a big fan of all that artwork because actually the way whoever did the artwork for Jeff Wayne, when you read the books, that's kind of how they're display, and that's kind of what was going through the mind of what's his face. They looked like they were steampunk. That's kind of how they're described in the book. And when I found out the BBC were adapting War of the Worlds, I was like, well, everybody else has done it. And then they announced that they were doing something that nobody else has done. Actually set it when the fucking book is set and set it back in the only thing that's done it close to that was a National Geographic documentary where they took World War One footage and combined it with a Martian attack, which was inspired by War of the Worlds. It's quite an interesting thing. But no, the BBC were doing a proper series set at the end of the 19th century with War of the Worlds. And then we've heard nothing about it until the beginning of this year when there was a scene of Ralph Spall running along with the actress, I can't remember her name, but she's famous. And everybody went, that's a clip from War of the Worlds. Like, oh, they are actually still doing this. Well, we got a trailer this week. They ended it
with a tripod. They ended that scene with the tripod going up over the building.
We got a trailer this week. And look, I'm excited. It's definitely set at the end of the 19th century. My only slight criticism is I like the look of the legs of the ship, but when you actually see the sort of like the top of the tripod, it looks quite like the Tom Cruise movie. And I would have liked to have seen
it was what was the kids TV show? Was it actually the tripods? Yeah, it looks like one of them. It looks like one of them when they're out of their shell.
I don't know.
Do you remember that?
Yes, no, I know what you're talking about now. I don't know. I just wanted something a bit more steampunky because I fucking love the Jeff Wayne look of it. I don't know, but I think it's going to be good, and I'm excited by it. Don't get me wrong. I am really fucking excited by this because it's not. So it's set in that era, and we're going to have characters that are in the book. So you've got what's his face. Oh God, who's the guy that was in the Bond baddie? He's in the trailer. Famous Scottish guys. Yeah, he was in Stargate Universe.
Oh, Robert. He's playing Ogilvy. He's
Robert Carlyle. Yeah, he's playing Overby. Yeah, exactly. He's playing Overby, who's a crossover. But Ralph Spall character is not the journalist.
He's not the journalist?
No, it's following 2 different characters just in that setting. So they are...
There was a rumour that the story did actually follow 2 different characters, but I could never pick up on it.
No, there isn't, but there's an extended... Recently, Audible released an extended Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds, Jeff Wayne War of the Worlds musical audio show. So basically, Jeff Wayne went back and wrote a Audible play. So they take the music from his musical, but there's a lot more narration in it. And funny enough, guess who's playing the journalist? Michael Sheen.
Michael Sheen's playing
It's really fucking good. He's really good. That's well worth a listen to, because that does take some artistic license. And it works. It works because it follows the wife as well, who was a bit character, and she's a bit character in the book as well. But it follows her, and that kind of works. But this is following two different characters, but set in Surrey, in Weybridge, and at Horsell Common, and that's all going to be in there. So what you're seeing in that trailer with Overby, that is Horsell Common. Yes, because I'll never forget. Right, I was listening to Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds once at Weybridge Station. I think I was coming back from seeing you. Right. It was where I think I was coming back from seeing you, and because I had to get the train from Addleston to Weybridge, and you had to change at Weybridge to go down to Easham, and I would cycle back. And it was like 11 o'clock at night, and I was listening to Jeff Wayne's on my Walkman, and it's the bit where he says, where you've got Richard Attenborough. Oh no, what was it? Who was it? I've forgotten who played them, but Richard something.
Oh, he's got a great voice.
Richard
married
something.
to Elizabeth Taylor.
Yes. But Richard Burton, he goes, and I ran into Weybridge Station and it was diverted, and then one of these big fucking tripods appears on the horizon, and I'm looking, there's like one person on the platform, and it's at night, and I got quite freaked out by that. I have to admit, because it was just the setting and everything. But I like the look of the trailer. I'm excited. It's coming very soon.
Yes, I just sent you a thing of. There's a kids TV series called Tripods.
Yes, and I've just seen
it. The aliens in that. It looks like the alien, like a mechanical version of the alien in that.
You only get like really one shot of the tripod. To me, it kind of initially reminded me of the Tom Cruise War of the Worlds, which I'd rather forget. Although that did follow the book more than a lot of the other films. Yeah. It had the red weed in it and all of that stuff, which they've got to do in this, which I think they've said they are. So I'm looking forward to it. It looks cool.
Do you know what the really irritating thing is? I'll tell you the really irritating thing you'll hate is if they do it right, they'll do it in 2 parts.
What do you mean? It's not a film.
They'll do it in 2 parts.
It's a series. It's no.
But they'll split it. They'll do the first book. Where Earth falls to the Martians, and then they'll do the second book where it kind of comes back for the humans.
Well, there was never there wasn't a second book.
There were 2 books. It's clear if you get it. There's a clear split in the middle.
Oh, yeah. Now I know what you mean. Yes, book 1, book 2 within the book. Yeah. Yes, I know what you mean. Yes. So the Martians.
This is the thing about there being a second person. Because I don't think he's referred to as the journalist in the second volume.
No, I don't think he is. No, he's not. But it is the same person. Because he then travels up to... Yes, no, I know what you mean. Because it kind of ends with the red weed spreading everywhere and him thinking all is lost.
I'm sure it ends with the destruction of the Thunder Child. And he runs off.
I think it ends with him being in Richmond. Locked in the house in Richmond. And I'm
sure it starts off. The second book starts off with him being locked in the house with the.
It's been a while since I've read the book. It's been a while since I've read the book. But yes,
I'm trying to remember. My brain's desperately trying to remember at the moment now.
And I know where that building is in Richmond. I know where that is. It does exist. All the places that are mentioned in the book are real. There really is a crater on Horsell Common. I'd just like to point that out. But no, I'm really excited for it. Was there anything else we were meant to be covering?
Probably. Just Disney shit, I'll be honest with you.
Just
Oh,
isn't.
hang on. There was Nigel did message something.
Oh, Nigel wants to talk about that next week. I just saw the trailer to that. I'm going to watch that because that looks really fucking cool. It's got Ron Perlman in it. It's a BBC TV series. It's got fucking Ron Perlman in it. I was like, it was like this. I watched the trailer and it was like this half a second clip, and I went, "Hang on, was that Ron? No, it can't be Ron Perlman. It fucking is."
Oh, yeah. There were the things he wanted to talk about were
The capture.
The what do you call it? The Medieval remake.
Yeah.
On PlayStation. And how dumb the new iPhone looks with its 3 fucking lenses.
No, he was the one that brought that up in last week's podcast. I really wasn't going to talk about it because I thought, I'm not going to get one. So, yeah. Although I will maintain, I was very impressed with your night shots. I am impressed with the shots that professional photographer got because I think they're good photographs. I've seen some shots that people have taken with the iPhone 11. It's pretty impressive. Is it more impressive than your Google Pixel? I've seen people comparing it, and some people say that the night mode on the Google Pixel's better. Some people say the night shot on the iPhone is better. I agree that having that extra wide angle lens, you can do some creative stuff with that. But it still looks ugly.
Mm.
It does look ugly. I think.
Yeah. The annoying thing is I was talking to my friends about I'm waiting for the Pixel 4. It goes, I've done the same with the lens on the Pixel 4. But unlike the iPhone, it actually looks okay.
Yeah,
it's passable. It's not great. It's passable, though.
No, I agree with you. I do agree with you. I think the next iPhone will be the one that I upgrade to because that it's going to have fucking fingerprint back. Thank you. Don't get me wrong, right? FaceTime or Face ID or whatever it's called is highly impressive technology. It is, and it works incredibly well on my iPad Pro. I am very impressed how well it does work. But I maintain that it's not the best security on a phone. A fingerprint scanner still is. Because it takes a lot more to force somebody to put a finger on the phone than just fucking look at it. And therefore, when you add the human factor, fingerprint is still more secure.
Yeah.
But having said that, I do like my iPad Pro. I do. And I have to say my watch, and I'm not just saying this, I get obsessed with closing those fucking circles. Do they have something like that on Fitbit? Because I've never had a Fitbit.
What's that?
Well, because you've got like these fitness circles on an Apple Watch, right? So you have to close each one, and I'm obsessed now with closing those. So I did this brisk walk, right? But I think 5 minutes of the 25-minute walk, the 30-minute walk I did, I wasn't walking as briskly. So I got back, and my circle had you've only got 25 minutes of exercise and you need to get 30. I was like, for fuck's sake. So I fucking power walked around the block again. So I did another 6 minutes, right? 32-degree weather, I might point out, right? And I closed my circle. It's quite a good motivation thing. It does work. It does genuinely work. And since iOS 6, you get a lot more stats. Because you know, like, how into stats Nigel is. He loves his fucking stats. There is so much fucking data now. That you get, like, from your swim. It will tell you, it will work out your pace that you're doing over every 100 meters, 50 meters, and so forth. And I get obsessed with it. I'm just sitting there for hours just looking at all this data that I'm getting every day now. It's quite cool. I have to admit, it is quite cool. But anyway,
the Fitbit's just a watch with a step counter and a heart rate monitor.
But there are the Fitbit smartwatches, but I don't know if anything else does this. Is this thing unique to Apple, or has Apple pinched it from somebody else like they have done in the past?
They pinched it from someone else. That's what they do. They pinch it and then they try to make it out it's brand new, even though it's existed somewhere else for years. Well, and then they knock out all the little bits that people find irritating before they put it out too. And then they go, "Oh, it was us all the time. We're amazing." No one took pictures on the phones until we took pictures on our phones. We took pictures. They were just shit.
I tell you what, though, their iOS 13 has been buggy as shit because they released iOS 13, and then like all the usual people were saying don't upgrade to it. Literally a week later, they released iOS 13.1, and now literally 4 days after that, 13.11. So we've had 2 fucking updates to their major update of software in the 2 weeks since release. And that was publicly beta tested for weeks. I know that because I had iPad OS for weeks on my iPad because it was still better than the original iOS running on an iPad. Because at least now you can fucking plug a USB key in and play videos off it. Although it's not as simple. Why? Because I was saying to Nigel last week, it still doesn't have open with. Like one of the most basic fucking functions of any file browser, still doesn't have that. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake, Apple. It's the one thing it holds it back. It's really annoying. Because Apple still have this thing about, we still want it to be a tablet. Yes, but it can be a tablet, right? The very nature of the device is it's a tablet. You keep telling everybody it's going to replace a laptop, but it doesn't. Because I can open a video much quicker on my MacBook, and my MacBook technically is slower than my iPad.
Oh dear.
But yes, anyway, that's me whinging. But anything else to say before we
loads of stuff to say about.
Have you listened to last week's?
I've had a hell of a week. I've got my head down. I forgot to wish Nigel happy birthday.
Oh.
And I did it the day after. But I took him out. We went out for lunch yesterday because Nigel's now officially an old man. He's collecting his pension.
Oh, is he 40 now?
Yeah.
Oh, so
he's an old man. He's collecting his pension, and I found that hilarious. Went to a steak place. A lovely steak. I had fucking 310 gram fillet steak because you don't fucking put it in ounces. It's really annoying.
I was going to say, what's that in ounces?
I don't know, but I enjoyed the hell out of it. And I know people say fillet steaks don't taste as well. It's like I just want a chunk of meat. Excuse me. I just want a nice chunk of meat to eat. So we had that, and then we got the person to come out and sing him happy birthday. And it was great because Carl was there and he distracted him so he could turn away so the person could bring the plate right up, put it in front of him. And then they started singing. He turned around and went, "Oh, you shit." I was like, I'm like, yes. Because when did you do that? Because when I went out for a cigarette. I just went out for a cigarette. I was going to pop out for a cigarette. It's important. But yeah, that made me laugh.
Bless him. Well, I did manage to do the intro last week. I did have that mic drop moment. You heard that. That's me dropping the mic, Gareth. I went completely the other way. I went overboard, and I fucked it up right at the end. I was really annoyed. Sorry, I got two words to say to you. Hey guys.
Hi guys. Hello, intern.
Oh dear. Right. Okay.
Anyway.
Yes. Let's wrap this up and put a bow on it. I will. Yes. We will see you on the next, or you'll hear us on the next.
You'll hear from us in the next podcast.
Yes. And we'll have the Captain Birdseye himself back, hopefully.
Yes, old man Captain Birdseye.
Old man Captain Birdseye, yeah. No longer the ginger beard, it's all white now. He looks like the original Captain Birdseye.
Yeah. Okay.
Alright. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for downloading the Monkey Nut Punch podcast. You can follow us on Twitter @Monkey Nut Punch. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Monkey Nut Punch.